It's time to talk Monday Night Raw, the Monday Night Raw following the Royal Rumble, and boy, WWE didn't waste any time setting up their next pay-per-view, or should I say premiere live event of Elimination Chamber in less than 3 weeks. So we've got a lot to talk about tonight. The Elimination Chamber match itself is set. Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins have a very awkward segment. Lita returns to challenge Becky Lynch. Ronda Rousey comes face-to-face with Becky Lynch, and so much more. Let's get everything started right after this. Nosy Wrestling Entertainment is a small new wrestling promotion on YouTube that wants to put on a great show but doesn't take itself too seriously. Their new episode has just been released on their YouTube channel for your enjoyment. Search Nosy Wrestling, that's Nosy, N-O-S-Y, Wrestling Entertainment on YouTube to check them out. Again, go check out Nosy Wrestling on YouTube. Click that subscribe button, have a few laughs, and be entertained. Go check them out right now.
This is WWE superstar Drew McIntyre, and you're listening to the WWE Podcast.
The champ is the one that everybody wants, me. Becky Lynch is going to WrestleMania. Claymore! Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. This is my idol. You're going to acknowledge me.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Monday Night Raw review here on the WWE Podcast. It is Tuesday, February 1st, 2022. We are now into February, and it's crazy. We're already a month into 2022. Here we go. Let's get rolling, and I want to say thank you for joining me here, as always, and a couple of announcements. First and foremost, I want to thank our latest patron. You know him as one half of the co-hosts of the Michael Ritter SmackDown Review Show. John Carrasco has joined us over there on Patreon. So John, thank you for your patronage. I appreciate you not only supporting us there, but also helping out Michael Ritter on every single SmackDown review. And it makes things so fun to hear co-hosts bounce things off one another, and it's a lot of fun. So if you haven't checked out the SmackDown review yet, then go check it out. That's all I got to say about that. And the other thing is, I want to right off the bat also say that if you want to hear more of Ashley and her analysis of wrestling, well, you can do that here from time to time, but she has her own podcast. It's called the Kick-Ash Podcast. Just Kick-Ash Podcast, K-I-K-A-S-H Podcast. Nice little play on words, Ashley. Gotta say, very clever. So check it out. She's available on pretty much everywhere that you'd expect, from Spotify and Apple Podcasts and Spreaker. So go support Ashley. Give her that subscribe on all those platforms. So it's just her, and she has been doing this for, I think, like a couple of months now, unbeknownst to myself, as we haven't connected in a couple months because of my insane sleep schedule with my children. So I'm really glad that she was able to do this, because I think that she is going to be very successful, and I wish her nothing but the best. But this isn't the end of my relationship with her. Of course, we're going to be continuing to collaborate as we move forward. But I wanted to give that bit of support to her, because I think that any support you get when you start a podcast is much needed. It's not easy to do and stick with it, but I'm sure she will do just fine. Go check out the Kick-Ash Podcast if you want more Ashley Mann and you want more of her analysis. I mean, she did the Royal Rumble review. That's already up. She had the preview show. Her shows are usually, anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour. So just a great show, and I'd really recommend you check that out. Also, she has a Twitter account already set up for this called, you guessed it, Kick-Ash Podcast. And that's exactly where you could find her, and give her a follow. So let's talk about Monday Night Raw, but we're going to do that with a co-host. You formerly knew him as The Crisis, and now he is Kanye Twitty. He is back to talk about Monday Night Raw, all of its ups, all of its downs, all the fire, all the Lunchables, and all of the trash takes are, of course, included free of charge for your listening experience. It's a fun conversation, and it was a long time in the making, as I'm starting to bring back co-hosts, and I have more on the docket that I have not yet joined up with that I really am looking forward to getting back onto the show, including Mimi. We haven't hooked up on a show in quite a while. We've got Zach. I know he's done NXT, but we haven't talked in a while. Memphis Mark, he's definitely on the list. So there are several that are still in waiting that we're going to eventually all collaborate, and I'll be back to normal in no time. So overall, just my thoughts as a whole, I thought Raw, as I didn't give them for whatever reason when I was talking to my co-host here, I thought Raw was fine. It felt rushed. It felt like they thought they only had like a day to put a pay-per-view card together, and boy, did they didn't waste any time putting the Elimination Chamber competitors together, the match together. The Kevin Owens Seth Rollins segment, yes, was awkward and rushed, and it didn't make a whole lot of sense. But we talked about that. I thought the Brock Lesnar segment with Bobby Lashley was a bit, I don't know. I'm battling my internals on how I feel about this new Brock Lesnar character that's just so out in outer space of being kind of always smiling and trying to make jokes, but a lot of times it doesn't come across funny, but it's also authentic, so I respect that. And I really still don't know what to make. I don't know what the report card is. I don't have a determination on how I feel about this Brock Lesnar character, because after 20 years of seeing the serious Brock in a cutoff sleeve and jumpsuit, I don't know what to make of this farmer boy. I'm just going to show everybody who I really am and not care, and I'm loose on the mic, and I've suddenly grown a ponytail at 48 years old. I don't know what to make of this Brock yet. I still don't. He's still Brock Lesnar, and in the ring, he is still Brock freaking Lesnar. No pun on Seth, but he is still a monster, and so that's still there. But I don't have a determination on this. I've waffled back and forth. And anyway, maybe you guys feel a little bit differently and you're solidly in one lane or the other. But yeah, so overall, I thought Raw was okay. It felt rushed. A lot of people are praising it. I'd give it like a C+. I thought it was okay. Certain things obviously were better than others, as most shows are. So let's stop all the chatter. I'll stop wasting your time. I'll stop putting you to sleep, and let's get it to myself and Mr. Kanye Twitty as we talk about this week's Monday Night Raw. Thanks everybody for listening. Please consider subscribing to us on Patreon and or Apple Podcasts. $1 will get you in the door with all ad-free experience. All of our shows ad-free, hundreds of shows ad-free, as well as a Patreon Discord server link that allows you to chat about wrestling with all the other patrons free of charge. I mean, well, no additional fee, right? Outside of the $1. So, but also tomorrow was the mailbag. So please send in your questions to us at mailbag@wwepodcast.com. That's mailbag@wwepodcast.com. You can call us as well, leave a voicemail, or send a voicemail through email. Some of you have done that in the past as well. You can do that, and that's pretty much it, guys. So here we go. Let's talk Monday Night Raw. Everybody, thanks so much, and I'll talk to you next time. Okay, everybody, welcome to the Monday Night Raw review / Royal Rumble wrap-up show, and we've got Kanye Twitty back with us here tonight, and we're going to talk about both shows and do it within about 60 minutes or so, and I'm really excited to have him back because it's been a while. That's right, Mr. Trash List himself, Mr. Lunchbowl Break himself is here. How you doing, man?
Man, we good. I'm excited to get through this. I'm really excited.
Yeah, there's certainly nothing short of content to talk about, and let's just start with the Rumble, and then we'll get to Monday Night Raw. We obviously know what happened on Raw with, Lita and Ronda Rousey, all that stuff. But let me get your overall thoughts. About the Royal Rumble. Did you enjoy it as a whole? Go ahead.
Well, I mean, for the Rumble, like, even my trash list, like, I mean, it has a lot of fire. I mean, there was a lot of fire on the Rumble. But overall, for me, it was spots. There was a couple, fire moments. As a whole, like, it just, I mean, after the first two matches, I mean, it just, for me, went downhill because, hey, I've heard people talking about it. Mr. Casual Wrestling Fan, he is all over my trash list because he called the whole darn thing. Like, the Discord server chat, he literally called every storyline, every swerve, every surprise, and I'm just personally jealous of Mr. Casual Wrestling Fan right now.
Yeah, I think he has some kind of in on WWE. Like, he knows somebody that's in creative or something.
I think he's got Corey Graves on speed dial. You know what I'm saying? That's what I think. I see him hanging out with Corey Graves. Yeah. That's exactly right. And maybe Liv Morgan on the side. I know he's a big fan of Liv Morgan. So what did you think about the men's Royal Rumble? I mean, I know Brock Lesnar wins. Was that a yawn for you? What was that like? We'll see. Well, the men's Royal Rumble, it was a mess. It was a mess for me. Rest in peace to Kofi Kingston's gimmick. That looked like it hurt.
Oh gosh,
it looked like he shattered. The way he hung there in just absolute depression, like that was the most emotional part of the men's Royal Rumble for me. Right there was just the sheer disappointment. Right there, the whole show stopped. But then from that point on, like it was just. No, there was other ways to get there with Brock. And then once you find out more, I know I've had a couple days to do some research. Shane McMahon, why? Why is he back? Why did he have to be the one to produce that match? Why did they have to change it 20, 30 different times? There's so many stories. They were trying to get Seth Rollins into the match, but it didn't make no sense. The morale backstage with the superstars, that it was absolutely horrid. There was even a point in time where they shot around the idea of having Randy win it in his hometown, but Randy wanted Riddle to win. And we all know that Brock Lesnar is not going to put over Matt Riddle. So, there's a lot that went back. And once you get the research, it basically was an absolute dookie show. It just didn't do it for me. I mean, the women, minus numbers 1 through 5, the women's match absolutely, outshined and set the bar for the whole pay-per-view.
I'll let it roll.
It's just easier.
Yep.
But anyways, but after that, I really felt like the crowd was just not there. I felt like the men's Royal Rumble was predictable. I was not surprised by absolutely anybody that actually came into it, and actually vomited in my mouth a little bit once I heard Shane McMahon's music hit.
If that was their Forbidden Door pick, I mean, I don't know. Did you have a Forbidden Door pick? I'm sure you heard all about it. Did you have somebody that they thought maybe AEW, is it going to be Moxley? Is it going to be MJF? Did you have anything like that in your mind?
Well, I mean, like the best thing in the world, they could have broke the internet. They could have broke the wrestling world by having MJF show up. I mean, that's the ultimate dream to me in every way, shape, or form, just because MJF is that dang good. Yeah. And you know it.
Yes, I do.
But besides that, no, I really thought that maybe if anybody, I felt like the only one that possible would have been Chris Jericho. Just because he still has a relationship with Vince. He's been on the Stone Cold sessions, but, no, I didn't think they were going to. I already knew from the get-go that the men's match wasn't going to have anything like that.
Yeah, I thought that there was a small chance it could be Jericho. Like you said, he had a long-standing relationship with the company already. Then they were teasing Moxley. They even said Mox's name a couple of times on air, and I'm like, okay, yeah, that to me might actually be a real possibility. And the more I thought about it, the more I'm thinking, well, I think it would undermine the goodwill of fans. Like, fans would legitimately be angry with the company because it would really just, I think, betray the trust of the fans who tune into AEW, many of them, to get away from WWE and to have their actual stars show up in WWE. I think even for a night would betray the trust of fans, and I think it may end up eventually hurting them long term. So. Yeah, I would love to see MJF. I would have loved to see MJF like confront the Miz in like a quick spot or something like that in the Rumble, or of course these things, that would have been awesome. But
you can't have them look bad. That's the problem. Is the fans will love it, but you don't want to take. That if you go through that door to WWE, I mean, they might even make fun of you. That's why Corey Graves is on the trash list for what he said about Mickie James. When Lita knocked her out. Like, come on, you don't want your stars to look weak in the other promotion, no matter what. I mean, it is wrestling. It's supposed to go back and forth, but and I know that WWE would not let themselves be the under, go under when they bring someone into their company.
What did he say about her? I missed it. What did he say when she?
As Lita knocks out Mickie James, he goes, "Lita is the one here at the Royal, making an impact at the Royal Rumble."
Oh God!
I was like, really, bro. Like Corey Graves, maybe it's a little bit to do with Pat McAfee just being Pat McAfee can make a mistake and it's almost hilarious. Now it's to the point where Corey Graves is almost intolerable.
Yeah, and Pat McAfee is just so off the cuff all the time that, yeah, you're right. I mean, like when he makes a mistake, you're thinking, is that really a mistake? Or I mean, you just kind of keep rolling because his energy and his constant chatter just overrides everything, and at times to his detriment. But he is a breath of fresh air on the commentary table, no doubt about it. And Corey Graves, I mean, hopefully he gets back in the ring sooner than later. I'm interested to see what he can do inside the ring. I mean, promo wise, I think he'll be fine. So maybe step away from the commentary table for a while. But all right, so we talked about the men's rumble. You weren't super impressed. Brock winning doesn't do a whole lot for you, considering that they could have gotten Brock to that point without having win the rumble. So the women's Royal Rumble, you said you enjoyed a little bit more. What about Ronda Rousey? You haven't really talked about that very much. Ronda Rousey coming back, the worst kept secret in WWE history. And honestly, the hilarious part was they tried to sell it like nobody expected this. I'm like, is that a troll? Because it was everywhere. You know?
Well, the running theme for the show was it's wide open. Like I watched the bump, I watched everything, because that's what I do on Royal Rumble is I watch it all. And it was a constant running theme of, hey, the field looks wide open. The field's wide open. And we all knew because of the worst kept secret that it wasn't. It was just a matter of who was going to win. We knew she was coming, but the bottom line is she doesn't look like she was ready to be there. And I don't know if a lot of people noticed, but like when she came out to a good pop, like they for the first time had a solid chance at really rolling her baby face. But they're doing the same thing with her that they did with Becky, where they're putting her right there in the middle because she makes all these comments and she's been making them ever since she won even in the ring. She's like, I'm not doing this for y'all. She's like, oh, so now you guys are cheering me. Like if you watch what she says to the crowd when she gets in the ring, like she's actually berating the crowd for cheering her. And so we already know that it's going to be confusing. I hope that the rumors are true that she is back for an actual year to do a solid run, because I'm one of those people that just felt like there was a lot of other superstars that could have benefited from a Royal Rumble win, and neither Ronda Rousey nor Brock Lesnar needed them.
Yeah, I mean, you look at it, it's two stars that aren't even full-time with the company that win it, and they're talking about building on the future. They're building on the future. Well, you certainly didn't get that message on Saturday night with Brock Lesnar, who's been with the company since 2002, in and out, and Ronda Rousey, who's there for probably, like you said, maybe a year off and on. I don't expect her to have a full-time run with her now having a child. I really don't think that she's going to have she's not going to be doing house shows, let me put it that way. I think that she'll be doing an occasional Raw or SmackDown wherever she lands, and then a pay-per-view like every other month or maybe 4 times a year, whatever. I think she'll be on the Edge schedule. That's what my understanding is. And if that's the case, then I don't know how this has helped building the youth. I don't understand how that's helping build youth, especially if she chooses Charlotte or Becky. They're already made women. They're already at the top of their game. What are you going to gain by having another triple threat with them, or just choosing Charlotte or just choosing Becky? To me, it should be about building in maybe Bianca Belair into this. Or, what about Asuka? She's somewhere floating out there. Bayley's floating out there somewhere at some point. I mean,
Doudrop. Just Doudrop.
Yeah.
Even Doudrop.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, anyway, so the Rumble, the Women's Royal Rumble, everybody's got to point to the WrestleMania sign. I was hoping Brock and Ronda would just forego that. I would take the fine, right? Like, I mean, if I had as much money as Brock Lesnar or Ronda Rousey did, I would just say, you know what, the hell with this. I'm not pointing to the sign. And just take the slap on the wrist, because they would fine you for that. But I don't know. I find it so it's so, every time I see it, I know it happens every time and everybody expects it to happen, but that's the problem. It's just such like a reminder of what you're watching isn't real. I don't like it because everyone does it all the time. It just bothers me.
And Ronda just looked awkward. I mean, I felt bad for her. I'm a Ronda fan, and I like her in the ring, but she obviously, she needed some promo class. She it was almost like she was back in the beginning of her run when she just looked like a fan in a wrestling ring.
Yeah.
And even some of her moves, like when we get to Raw, when she has her altercation with Becky, that was one of the worst looking altercations I'd ever seen. And it's, just because she's not ready. She's not ready to be on that big screen yet.
Well, I don't think she really needs to be, per se, because the Royal Rumble is not something that is a spotlight only on you. All you have to do is dump somebody over the top rope. You don't have to get them you don't have to pin or make them submit. And she's got several months now until WrestleMania. She's got 2 months to still continue to get herself in shape. And she does look, I mean, look, I'm not body shaming anybody, but she doesn't look physically the same that she did before she went off to maternity leave. And look, that happens. You deliver a baby.
I'm not even saying physically. I'm saying just the way she moved, mainly her facial expressions. Her facial expressions were back to the beginning, and it took her a long time, in my opinion, to get over that. So I mean, it's not even so much her physical. Like her physical, she, like you always say, she's whooping either one of us. All right,
oh, God, that's not. I mean, let's be serious.
But her facial, because that's one of the most important things in my opinion for a wrestler is what they can do with their face and the stories they can tell with their face and the believability that you get from. I mean, look at Edge. Edge can bring you to tears, if he really wants to. But I feel like that's where she was really slacking. Like she just didn't look like she belonged in the ring.
Well,
my opinion.
She's got two emotions. She's got two. It's like, I mean, like that's it. There's one extreme or the other. She's like angry or super happy. There's nothing in between. She'll come out usually with the angry face, the angry cartoon face, and then maybe she'll lighten up in the ring or whatever, and she'll start smiling, beaming like, she's about to ascend into heaven, and that's it. Like she's got two emotions. There's nothing in between, and she knows that her angry face is her money face, but it's overused. And she's got to learn like levels of emotion and way to emote in a way that's not just one or the other. There's a mix. Anyway, so I'm with you on that too. And she's still good in the ring. She's still, hopefully doesn't hurt. Well, hopefully she doesn't hurt somebody this time. I know she accidentally hurt many of the women the last time she was around. I know Alexa Bliss was one of them. So let's hope that she does not do that. And, we'll see who she chooses on Friday. I think it's going to be Charlotte, but
I think it is too. As much as I want to yawn, but all right, yeah. So enough of them. Enough of that.
Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns in the Universal Championship match. Shoot.
Yes. No, that was they got the emotion. I was mad when it first happened when he first he wouldn't let go of the hold, Roman, and he gets his hand. It was a beautiful shot. His hand, Seth Rollins did that perfectly. His hand on the rope, passing out the whole 9 yards. And I was immediately mad. Like standing up. What the heck? I was, this is trash. But then as the story unfolded, when it was all said and done, I was like, aha, good job. Good job. Whoever wrote that produced that segment and produced that match, good job, because you got me. They got that emotion out of me. They got me upset. They got us mad at Roman Reigns again. Because I'm one of those people that's hey, like when he comes out, I'm like, yes, all right, we the ones, the whole 9 yards. I mean, I can see from opposite sides of the country every time he comes out, you got me and DJ Kuzmo putting our fingers in the air. We the ones, I mean, I know that happens, because I'm cheering. But what it is, I cheer him for his initial pop, but then, like you have said, but when they're actually out there doing stuff, I'm giving him his boos, because that's what they need. That's what they want. But, they got even those fans, us fans, just a little bit more reinvigorated on being mad at Roman Reigns. And it was a shock to me that they were able to do it with another heel. They got us to feel for another heel in such a way that it brought the heat needed to Roman Reigns. I give that the opening to the Royal Rumble, that match, absolutely perfect. It was well done. I have not one real bad thing to say about it whatsoever. Yeah,
this was, I think, easily the match of the night. These two, to me, outperform what I thought they could even do. And you're right. At first, my initial reaction was, what? I was pissed too, and then I realized, wait a minute. This is something that, while we see a lot of non-finishes in WWE, and a lot of them don't make sense, and it's often an overused finish, which is why I think initially I was angry at it. It made total sense to make it happen here because, like you just said, it reminded you why you should hate Roman Reigns, because Roman Reigns was headed down the path of maybe turning babyface accidentally or just organically. He started to get a little bit more support, and you started to hear it. This firmly placed him back into the heel lane. I mean, if this didn't do it, then it did it with the Brock Lesnar Bobby Lashley match if you were rooting for Brock Lesnar to win. So that all solidified it again. So this reminded you why you hate Roman and why you want to see somebody beat the hell out of him and take his championship. So this accomplished everything. It also put some sympathy on Seth. Now, does that mean Seth is going to go full babyface? I mean, that's a conversation to have as well. But I loved that match. I mean, it was so well done. And yes, we were angry at the end, but now when you step back and you go, this achieved like 1, 2, 3 different big things. It's not just
it's unheard of in WWE creative nowadays. What? Wait a minute. You crossed your T's? You dotted your I's? We paid attention to old school storytelling and long term. What? Hold up, is this AEW? What? My bad. Mm-hmm. That's it. I think why it was such a shocker, and I give kudos to the superstars in the ring and the creative for what they did with that, because, hey, I mean, without that, the Royal Rumble might take a different feeling, because that crowd needed that match.
It was almost the savior of the pay-per-view. I mean, like, yes, the crowd hated it, but they probably in retrospect go, oh, okay. Like, we didn't like the finish in the moment. And when you're in attendance and you spend that kind of money, especially at a Royal Rumble event, you spend your time, your money, everything. It's a pain in the neck to get to the arena, park, everything. And then you get a big time match with a non-finish, you're pissed. I mean, you're pissed because you feel like you've been shafted. But in reality, you haven't. The problem is you've been educated for so many years that non-finishes don't often have any reason, just for cowardly booking. But when they're actually done for a purpose that makes sense and it's used in the right context, sometimes people forget that it's a good thing, that it's actually like a finish that makes sense when the storyline warrants it. And so this is exactly the time when a non-finish made sense. I expect fully to see Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns. I don't know when. Maybe we'll get more answers on SmackDown, with Rollins likely showing up. I would assume that this is not the end, given the way that Rollins was beaten to death with that chair. This can't be the end of these two. Boy, that was brutal, wasn't it? Huh.
Hey, it made a lot more sense on more thought into why he came out in the Shield gear.
Yes. Yes.
He needed that vest.
Yeah, a lot of hopefully he put some padding in the back of that. Boy, my God. Wow. All right, so Bobby Lashley, Brock Lesnar. I'm guessing you didn't feel the same way about this match as you did Rollins and Reigns.
No. Just because it felt like we already. I mean, like I said, casual wrestling fan. He ruined it. I'm just blaming that whole match on casual wrestling fan. All of it. I was arguing with him in the Discord. The Discord chat, by the way, shout out to everybody on the Discord server chat. That was a lot of fun. The Veer Mahan watch is absolutely my favorite part of any live event that we do, because the jokes that come out about Veer and every number. So it was like, yo, Veer's on his way out. And like, no. It was a lot of fun, but no, casual wrestling fan, he called it, he explained it, and he put it in black and white, and then I had to sit here and watch it play out, and I was live chatting with my brother across the state during it, and he's like, well, we called it. That's exactly what you said it was going to be. I'm like, yeah, there was just other ways to get there, and I really feel like there was a couple things about the match that really, really irked me. It was the way that Bobby Lashley still looked weak.
Yeah.
In a win. And then the way that Roman Reigns handled the championship, I don't care that it's two different brands, two different titles, all that. There's a certain bit of respect, I think, that should be on the world and the universal title. And the way he just kind of nonchalantly looked at it, talked a little bit about it, just tossed it on the mat, I was like, it made Bobby Lashley look like a just an absolute weak championship and weak champion.
If this was a TV 14 show, like, I know what adjective you were going to use to describe the way Bobby looked, and that's right. I mean, this wasn't a complete bomb of a match. It wasn't Goldberg, Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 20. I mean, it was just disappointing, given that we've talked about this match and thought about this match for so many years. Many people are like, oh, how does that not happen? How does it not happen? And the video package did a much better job of promoting this match than anything they did for 4 weeks leading up to it. And
got me excited. be excited.
Yes.
I don't get excited about Bobby Lashley.
No, I don't. 'Cause he's really not an excitable guy. He's just a big dude that, is freakishly muscular, and he's got a great presence, and he's a good-looking guy. Like that's kind of what Bobby is, but he never really draws you into a promo. He's missing that part of it. But anyway, I think that this match was just it was disappointing. They did the collar and elbow tie-up. I'm like, cool. When you do a collar and elbow tie-up, that typically is a sign to the crowd, a signal to the crowd. This is going to be a match that lasts a while, because if you just go to kicks and punches and power moves right away, that's a sign that we got to get our crap in. We don't have a whole lot of time. But when they start off with kind of technical wrestling, I'm like, all right, we probably got to settle in for a bit. And like they didn't they didn't have the power moves that I expected. Like you said, Bobby looked weak at times.
Bobby almost got knocked out, though.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that because I noticed that after Bobby got thrown once, like he wasn't landing. He wasn't sticking his
Germans
landings.
were not good. Yeah.
No, and then that's where it came out. He actually said that after that first one that he took, he had to gather himself in the ring because he almost got knocked out.
I believe it. I mean, he was taking them, and I'm like, oh boy, like he was landing on like the top of his shoulder, and like I'm like, what the hell's going on? Like,
but he was basically out on his feet. He was out on his feet for a while.
In his defense, how many times in his career has he had to take a German suplex? He's the guy giving him 99.9% of the time, if anything. So he doesn't have a whole lot of practice taking the German suplex. So I understand that, but I was actually like worried. I'm like, damn, a dislocated shoulder's got to be like something. So that makes sense. I didn't hear about that with Bobby, but I do believe it. And then this ended in a way that was a schmaz finish. Roman, like you said, comes out, spears Brock to further their storyline, and immediately when that happened, I was like, oh, Brock's winning the Rumble. I mean, like I immediately knew that, like, oh, Brock's winning. And then like you said, the disrespect that he showed to the championship was something that irked me. I didn't really mention it, but it did irk me because the lineage and respect and value of the championship supersedes anything that they're doing with characters, because that's the reason they're there. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's Stone Cold Steve Austin. If you disrespect the championship, to me it undermines everything and every reason why you're here. It's what holds everything together. It's the glue of why everyone's here to compete. So when you have Roman do that, I understand the message they were sending that, oh, well, Roman, he values his championship much more than the WWE Championship. This is just a prop. It's a toy. That did bother me.
I shouldn't feel that way. You shouldn't make me feel like this championship is a proper toy, and that's what he did.
Yep. Yeah, it was disrespectful, and obviously no crap on Roman here. This was all creative, obviously, who I think did this, and I did not like that part of it. Was it super damaging? No, but it was just another one of those. Really? Like the WWE Championship has been around like 800 times longer than the Universal Championship. It's been through legend after legend after legend, decades and decades and decades of lineage, and you're going to tell me that the Universal Championship is more important? No. So, all right, let's move on. And Edge and Miz versus Maurice and
DJ Kuzmo. I know you listening. Send me a Lunchable break. Let's go on. Nope.
Not even touching it.
We're gonna share a Lunchable here, Matt. We're having a Lunchable together.
All right. I got my little pizza. I'm gonna put some sauce on it. That fake cheese.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I got the fake cheese. See, I even go like for this. I even get canned cheese to add to it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
No. The only thing I can say about Miz in any way is Resident Hill. It's time to get your boy. It's time to get your boy, because he has the most go away. It's to the point now where he even had a match on Raw where, and yes, I go back and I watch them all just for the sake of, analysis, but, they had a good match, but it doesn't matter. As soon as the Miz even appears or they say that he's coming up next, I literally will go cook something. Okay, like I'm done. So no, Lunchable break. There's our Lunchable break for the review. Is anything Miz oriented? I'm sorry, that's the words of Kanye Twitty.
Owen, you got to respond, my friend. If you're out there,
get your boy.
Oh God. Please, I need to hear from you, Owen. Tomorrow's the mailbag.
I do. I miss Owen because I thought that maybe he got released with John Morrison. Come
snap.
get your boy.
Snap. Oh, damn. I think I just heard the mic drop.
Yes.
So, all right. What about Becky Lynch and Doudrop? Was it about what you? I mean, we all knew the outcome, but did you enjoy the match at all?
You know what? I did, because I'm a fan of Dewdrop, aka the Viper, aka Piper Nevin. I'm a big fan. But this was also another match that we knew how it was going to go. We knew there was nothing to it. That and the number one fire moment we're going to just say it right now, the number one fire moment of the whole Royal Rumble happened right before their match, because you could tell the whole crowd was looking a different way. But the fire moment was the WrestleMania sign actually on fire. Okay, like that was hilarious to watch on Twitter. The fact that it lit on fire, they had to clear out a big old section of the crowd, and then they actually had the balls to go ahead and light off pyros again and light it on fire again at the end. Like it's absolutely hilarious. But that you and I both know that a crowd is a big part of these matches, and after sitting through a very, very well done females Royal Rumble match, and then that thing catches fire, like the crowd was having a lunchable break on by accident during the Becky Dewdrop match, and that really affected them in the ring.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it did, and I didn't know why either until I saw it on Twitter, and I mean, it literally was. Yeah, it's exactly what you said. It was on fire, and maybe it was the wrestling god saying, we are done with having people point to this sign. We're just gonna incinerate it. Right? You can't point to anything. The crowd was chanting.
Yeah, the crowd was chanting. It's on fire.
Yes. Yeah. That's true. Oh my gosh. If you haven't seen it, I mean, it's all over Twitter. You can just Google or even YouTube it, I'm sure. Just search for like WrestleMania sign on fire. It's right there. It's funny. So, one thing we didn't cover, and I just want to get your thoughts on it, is, just Paul Heyman's turn, right? We didn't say Paul Heyman at all. He turned on Brock Lesnar. Do you care? Did you expect it? What about Paul Heyman in all this?
That's the only part of that match that I'm okay with, because to me, it was a correction of a course. For whatever reasons that we went off course, before day one, this and that and the other thing, I was glad actually that they got back on course and put things back where they needed to be, because I personally have put a lot of effort and a lot of investment into this Roman Reigns, Paul Heyman, Brock storyline, and for we're used to WWE just kind of ignoring things and just dropping them for no reason, treating us like we're morons, and I felt like this was a good homage to not do that. I'm glad that they did it very simply. I would have expected them to get a little more elaborate with it, but I think the simplicity of it was good. And so no, I'm excited and happy for that. Mm-hmm. Not anything else that's being added around it, from the title versus title or Brock winning the Royal Rumble. There's 50 million other ways he could have got back to Roman. Period.
Yeah, there is. Yep.
But as far as Paul Heyman, like I'm leaving him on my good list. He's still on my fire list. It was simple. It was done quickly and right, and it was a correction of the course. And yeah, I'm okay with it. I sign off on it. And I'm not tooting my own horn, but I did err on the side for many months since this has been going on that it's all a ruse and that Paul Heyman is leading on Brock Lesnar, but behind the scenes he's still with Roman Reigns, and this is all just to eventually screw Brock Lesnar, and that's what happened here. And it kind of did feel a little bit out of left field because it hasn't been talked about. Like Paul Heyman hasn't really been talked about for a while. It feels like he's been an afterthought, and it didn't feel like he was building to this crescendo. Like you said, it just kind of just happened, but it was simple and it made sense. And now you have Paul Heyman, who is going to be aligning himself back with Roman Reigns. I do like that. And you have Brock Lesnar, who has proven he can talk on the mic. At times he's awkward. At times he's trying to be funny. And I don't know if he is self-aware that sometimes what he says is not funny. It's just weird. And Brock, he doesn't have a great delivery at times. He's okay. He's okay on the mic. Some people enjoy this new version of Brock, but it was a nice test to see. Without Paul Heyman as your mouthpiece, can you deliver a promo? Can you get through the mic portion of your character without having Paul Heyman around? And I think that he has proven he can, and he doesn't need Paul Heyman to be his mouthpiece anymore because Brock's just doing whatever the hell he wants. I mean, he's going out, and that's the part that's great is they just said, hey, Brock, go out and just literally be and talk about whatever you want. Just get us from here to here. You do whatever you want in between. And that's what he's done, and it's fine. So I think eventually there'll be an F5 waiting for Paul Heyman.
probably.
Yes. You know, and for what Brock Lesnar has proven that he can do without Paul Heyman is what Bobby Lashley has failed at proving that he can't not do without MVP.
Yeah, exactly. And fun fact, Paul Heyman has turned on Brock Lesnar at the Royal Rumble before, back in 2003 when he faced the Big Show. So a little bit of a fun historical fact that for whatever reason, Paul Heyman has just the demons just infest his soul at the Royal Rumble when it comes to Brock Lesnar. I don't know. So it has happened before, those of you that are interested. So, all right. Well, that kind of covers the Royal Rumble as a whole. Went through the matches. Now we get to Raw, and we're really shifting quickly into the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. I mean, we are just going right into it because there's only 3 weeks away, and it's the final stop. They said it's the final stop before WrestleMania. I like how there's not another pay-per-view after that. Sometimes they do have, and last year they have. I think the last couple of years they've had 2 pay-per-views between Rumble and Mania, and I didn't like that. It's just too much.
Yeah, there should be, wasn't it Fastlane?
Yeah, it's like Fastlane and then Elimination Chamber, or sometimes it's like Roadblock and then Elimination. Like, yeah, I'm glad it's just one. And then it gives them 6 weeks to build from Chamber to Mania. I love that. I love that nice long build, and it should be. So we already have all competitors in the Elimination Chamber match. It's going to be Bobby Lashley defending his WWE Championship inside of the of that structure. So give me your take on that and just, I guess, Raw as a whole.
Well, I gotta say that we didn't need it all in one show. We didn't need it all in one show. I mean, that's what, six competitors. We didn't need it all in one show.
Yeah, they give it to us.
And you know, with some of them having to do qualifying matches, and then some of them not, and then the whole awkwardness with Seth Rollins and KO, like
that was weird.
It was weird. It was weird. It was rushed, and I was like, okay, you know, like this is. I kept saying to myself, I'm like, this is the Monday Night Raw after the Royal Rumble. Like I thought the whole show was a mess. A lot of other people thought it was awesome, and it was breakneck speed, and they accomplished a lot. And I'm like, well, I feel like you just gave me a whole book in one chapter and shoved it down my throat and told me to like it, and I didn't like it. I didn't like it, Matt.
Well, how about this? What did you like?
Okay. Well, I mean, there's really only 4 things on my fire list for Monday Night Raw. That's how bad it was. I mean, the lunchable list is almost as long.
For a 3-hour show.
Yeah, 3-hour show. Insulting my intelligence. All right. No, for the fire, you know, Seth Rollins' jacket. Yeah, no matter what. I mean, you know, on the flip side, Bobby Lashley's jacket, like, he was looking like a Valentine's Day box of candy. Like, it was horrible. But Seth Rollins' jacket still looking good. The Who Day chants. I consider wrestling a sport. That's my personal opinion. I don't care what other words get used around. To me, it's a sport, and I thought it was very coincidental, very, very lucky that they were in Cincinnati, and the Who Day chants were pretty cool. I got a real big kick out of that. That was a real excited crowd. Real excited for that city right now because, you don't know a lot about football, but the Bengals, very long time sucked. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So that was good. Ziggler's new look. I loved it. I love the scruffy look. I love the scruffy beard. I thought I know they were, Dirty Dog's pants, but I mean, his gear was fire. The way he was in the ring. Man, Ziggler is in my opinion, me and my friend talk about it all the time. You need Zigglers. You need more of them, to be honest, because he goes out there, and even when he loses, even if you know he's going to lose, I don't miss a Ziggler match. When Ziggler's in any match, I will watch it, no matter who's with, because he's that dang good. And then the Riddle versus Otis match. Woo! Wow. I haven't seen a match like that on Raw in a while. That was beautiful. Riddle, I mean, the storytelling, because, you know, we always talk about, you know, you can do big moves, you can, you know, do promos and this and that, but what story can you tell in the ring? And the story that they told in the ring, man, they had me going one way, and then they brought me back the other way. I thought for sure Riddle's losing that. To be perfectly honest. And Riddle he sold one of the best selling jobs I've seen him do, and you know, and not that he doesn't normally do that. I'm just saying, like, it was that good. But the way they're building Otis, And when both wrestlers, can come out of a match, winner or loser, and they both come out strong, they both come out going over, that's a good match, and that's what I saw in that.
Yeah, that's a good point. That match between Riddle and Otis was a match that you didn't expect to be as good as it is, especially considering Otis' size and the difference and all that, but Riddle can work his ass off. I think the best part of that match is how well Riddle can sell, and God, he's so good. Eventually, whenever Riddle gets on his own and maybe gets a little more serious instead of being a little bit of a Big E kind of character, it works for him, but eventually he's going to have to turn, whether it's heel or not, and many people are predicting it's going to be heel versus Randy Orton, the babyface, once he turns on him. I think he has a hell of a run in front of him. He's future world championship material. His in-ring work is second to none, which is why they have him work these 20-minute matches every single week on Raw. I mean, whether it's against Chad Gable or now Otis, he is one of the best workers WWE has right now, period, bar none. And he can make anybody look good. I mean, yes, Otis does his job. He's a big, beefy wall of a man. But if you don't have a guy like Riddle, who is kind of like a Ziggler style, where he can just make anybody look good and he sells his ass off, that is, to me, more important than having that big guy, because you have a guy that knows how to sell. And he took the 95% of the match was Otis just beating the crap out of Riddle, and we're here praising him.
Yes.
Yes,
so, absolutely. Like, Riddle is, I honestly, after I've done all my research about, the backstage happenings for the Rumble and all that, I honestly believe that the only reason why Riddle didn't win the Royal Rumble was because of Brock Lesnar.
Could be.
Because even they even finally boiled it down. They didn't know what to do, and they were going to have they really wanted to have Randy win it in his hometown. And if you have Randy Orton, who has pull in the back, and he's sitting there saying, no, let's put it on Riddle, but at that point you already know that you're doing the Brock Lesnar angle, and of course we all know it's very well documented that Brock Lesnar will not put over Matt Riddle, ever. We know this.
Yeah. And it's essentially Brock Lesnar turned heel by throwing out Randy Orton on Saturday night. I believe it was Brock who threw out Randy, just nonchalantly.
I think, yes.
It wasn't even.
That was a sign. I think that was an Easter egg.
And then it was funny to watch him F5 Bad Bunny. I got to say, seeing Bad Bunny get beat up is it's one of my favorite things. I'll give it to Bad Bunny. He's really good in the ring for
I'm giving it to Bad Bunny, and I'm also giving it to Johnny Knoxville. I am giving it to him. This is a man that won't do stunts for his own movies anymore because he's been knocked silly so many times, but he took. I like it because I feel if you're going to enter the wrestling world and you're going to like let's take Dominic for example. When he first came in, he got to whoop the crap out of Seth Rollins with a kendo stick, and I was like, okay, all right, wait for it. I was like, you got to take your licks, you got to get your receipts.
Yep.
And I thought that Johnny Knoxville deserved to be able was okay at throwing the couple moves he did, just like Bad Bunny, because they both can take it, and they took some moves, both of them, and they sold, and that's what I really appreciate. I'm giving an A+ to both of the celebrity people this year.
You don't often see celebrities come in. How many decades have we seen celebrities come in and they make the wrestlers look like fools? They don't take any bumps. They come into the wrestlers' world, they make them look like fools, and they leave. Mick Jagger, or Mickey Rourke, who ended up punching, Chris Jericho and breaking his jaw. We had, who was it? Snooki from Jersey Shore come in and win her match. So like crap like this, Drew Carey. Although Drew Carey and Kane had a fun interaction. I mean, like the list goes on. Pete Rose is maybe an exception, who got tombstoned by Kane. One of the funniest things ever, seeing Pete Rose. But so anyway, yeah, like I'll give it to them. Like I'm not a fan. I don't enjoy what they do. I don't enjoy watching them outside of like seeing them get their ass kicked. But they actually took bumps in the ring, and credit to them. They don't have to do that, and they did. So
yes, Bad Bunny. You could see the training. He especially. I mean, he killed it last year too. I mean, or was it the year before?
Yeah, last year.
I'm not sure.
Year.
Yeah, no, he killed it. He set the bar for celebrities actually in there. I mean, I don't count Pat McAfee because he's talent.
Yeah, and he gave a destroyer to.
Pat McAfee.
Oh God, yeah. And he gave a destroyer to Riddle. I mean, that's a dangerous move. You got to really trust the guy you're doing. You could get one wrong, you're paralyzed. I mean, like, so if you trust Bad Bunny to give you a destroyer, which is essentially like a pile driver, like, whoa. I mean, so
beauty.
Yeah,
beauty.
It was,
beauty.
man. All right. Well, moving on a little bit here with Monday Night Raw. I want to ask. Let's just get to one of the bigger stories before I forget, and that's Lita at the end of Raw returning. And yes, we got Ronda Rousey. She comes out and she's saying that who should I take the title from, basically. And I'm not a fan of Ronda Rousey on a personal or professional level, but I respect her. But I'm not a fan of who she is. I think she disrespects the business in a way that's it's too far past the fourth wall. Even if she's going for that, I think it's disrespectful. I was not a fan of her towards the end of her first run. I think she was easily turning heel, and I think she could be an amazing heel. I would love to see Ronda Rousey heel. I think she's much better suited to be a heel than she's a babyface. So maybe once this like shiny new toy and the love embrace with the fans goes out quickly, that they'll start to turn on her. But she comes out, and then quickly Becky Lynch follows after some chit chat, and then Ronda takes her down and was about to tease an armbar and says, "You'll hear my decision on Friday." And Lita comes out afterwards and challenges Becky Lynch to a match at Elimination Chamber for the Raw Women's Championship. And the way she got it was basically calling her a coward. I think that's what eventually was like that triggered her. So what do you think about Lita returning, the Ronda Rousey segment? What do you think?
All right, Lita, if you're watching this, if you listen to this, I got to say this first. I respect your work. Man, Lita was one of the first female superstars that got me into, paying attention to the women wrestling. She's a pioneer. She's a legend. She's a Hall of Famer. The whole 9 yards. I don't need to see this. I don't need to see this. Seeing her coming for a Rumble for a moment, yeah, okay. I'm all about it. But the bottom line is the number one problem with the women's division is you couldn't come up with 30 superstars to fill that Royal Rumble, and now you're going to take not just a part-timer, but an extreme part-timer and she, I'm not body shaming, but I'm saying she just doesn't, she obviously hasn't been in the ring in a while. And you're going to tell me to get invested in a championship match with Becky Lynch at one of the, one of the bigger pay-per-views? I'm like, no. Like, I love Lita, but I'm putting her in the same category as Goldberg. The Undertaker now at this point too. I don't need to see a diminished version. It reminds me of watching Ken Shamrock when he went back to UFC and just got his butt handed to him, as an older version of himself. I don't want to see it. There's nothing there for me. I want to be invested in new stars. I want to be invested in your Dewdrops and your Liv Morgans, the girls from NXT, Aaliyahs, things of that nature. I don't need these legends coming back and taking main event slots from people that work every day.
And I'm sure the talent there would second that. And Vince's argument would be, though, well, the legends being back draws more eyeballs to the product, therefore more people are watching you by default. And it's like, no, well, that may be true in some cases. The ultimate goal is to get new stars built, and you can't do that by having constant legends being brought back. But the problem is it's WrestleMania season, and Vince just can't help himself but go to the well from yesteryear every single year. I think last year was the first time that any WrestleMania didn't really include any big legends. I think Goldberg might have been the only exception, but other than that, last year was a predominantly future-driven wrestling program. But that said, with Lita, so I'm a little bit less harsh on Lita here. I think the reaction she got at the Rumble really drove the decision here for WWE, because WWE listened to that reaction. She got one of the biggest pops of the night. I mean, love her or hate her,
yes,
she got one of the biggest pops, and I think that was a deciding factor.
I was right there with him. But but it stopped there. It stopped after the Royal Rumble was over. Yeah. To me, it made no sense of her. And I thought you'd be throwing your cup across the room in the whole 9 yards, because the way she got her championship match was basically coming out and as a 9-year-old kid, you're scared. Really? Really?
Yeah,
really? I felt like I was being insulted.
Yeah, I mean that is a weak way, and Becky was basically Becky was like no, and then all of a sudden Lita's saying, well, you're scared, and she's like, all right, you got your match. It's like, what? I think what happened there, you could see that they were being rushed, and Raw was ending, so their TV spot was I think they were running up a little bit too close, and like, we just got to close this out, just accept the match. It felt very, very close to the end of Raw, where they didn't have a whole lot of buffer, and they just had to cut it off, get to the match, let's make it happen. So maybe that's part of it, but if that wasn't part of it, and you're just saying the way you get your match is just say you're scared, call me a coward. Oh, okay, you get your match. Yeah, it is a little bit. It's elementary. It is a little bit.
It didn't feel like an ending of Raw.
No,
it was over, and I saw the emblem come up. I'm like, really? Okay.
Yeah, it was rushed because she was walking out of the ring as the logo was coming up. I'm like, all right. It looks like they ran up too close to the end of the show, and the producers were probably screaming at them in their ear off the side, with the ring.
Did you hear what happened afterwards though?
With Bianca Belair?
Yes.
Yeah.
Trash.
Yeah. I agree with that. I agree with that. Now I know it's supposed to send the crowd home happy. I get that. But to bury Becky Lynch like that, again, not on TV, but it's all over Twitter. People have cameras in their pockets now.
You can't hide those dark matches anymore.
No. Yeah, you can't. I mean, remember when our tickets used to say no laser pointers, no video cameras, like on your ticket, like very bold? That's not the case anymore. Like, everybody's got a video camera in their pocket. And so things like this can't just go unscathed. Like, and if anybody hasn't seen it, what we're talking about is Bianca Belair came out immediately after Raw went off the air, and they had an impromptu match in which we saw Bianca Belair beat Becky Lynch within like 15 seconds, hitting the KOD and pinning her. So
11.
I'm sorry, 11 seconds. Oh my God. Yeah, I understand the crowd's supposed to go home happy, and so I understand that part of it, but man, really? Like, Becky Lynch, what?
It made no sense.
It was it didn't. So, all right. Well, let's move on just in the interest of time here. Alexa Bliss meeting with her psychologist. What do you make of all this journey back to Raw? I swear Alexa Bliss has spent more time in a playground or backstage or now in a psychologist's office than she has in a wrestling ring. I mean, like, she has wrestled 2% of the time since The Fiend left the WWE. I mean, since Bray Wyatt left, Alexa Bliss has essentially been a backstage character. So, like, what do you think of all this?
I'm trying to just let this one ride. I'm trying to let it ride. Because I'm big. I'm holding out hope that the creative and the writing is going to actually have a payoff. And so when it does happen or doesn't happen, then I'm going to go ahead and react accordingly. But as of the moment, I'm giving it its time. I'm letting it breathe. Because I try not to make too many snap judgments. I have enough with my trash list. But with Alexa Bliss, because of that's my fandom there. So I'm going to. I will say this last week kind of started losing me a little bit, but like I said, I'm going to give it another couple weeks, and bottom line is which is going to happen first. Alexa Bliss is going to come back, the Intercontinental title will be defended, or Veer Mahan shows up.
Somebody should be, I'm going to do a poll. Hold on, I'm going to do a poll. That's a great poll. I love that. It
is. That's what I was like, what's going to happen first? Alexa Bliss, the Intercontinental Championship, or Veer Mahan? I mean, what's going to happen first? Because I truly don't know, and I don't want to hear a casual wrestling fan. Don't spoil it, okay? You're excommunicated from this survey.
I'm putting it up on Patreon. I'm going to put it up on Twitter too. That's a great poll.
It's a good one.
Yeah. It is. It's a really good one. So I'll put that up. Everybody listening, I'll be on Twitter and on Patreon of those three choices. Which will happen first? Alexa Bliss going in ring return, Veer Mahan's debut, or the Intercontinental Championship being defended? That's a hell of a debate. I mean, so it's kind of sad in some respects.
Yeah. We should have a pool going. I think someone should win if they get it right.
Yeah, I mean, because I know it's a 1 in 3 chance, but there should be some kind of betting here. But so great, I'll put that up. But I'm with you on Alexa Bliss. Like, I just completely canned her character for just being a backstage character. That doesn't mean I hate it. It just means, like, I would eventually like her to get in the ring and do some damn wrestling, in which she's decent to good at. Yeah. And I know it got hokey at the end, and fans started to turn on it. That's just the way fans are. They're fickle sometimes, and they want different, and they don't want the same. But I don't know where this is going to end up. You would imagine it's with Charlotte Flair because of what happened with her at 5 months ago at the pay-per-view, whatever it was, having Charlotte tear up Lily, and that's what sent her into this spiral. So Alexa Bliss meeting with her psychologist and seeing a replica of Lily and being all, I guess sympathetic towards that replica doll. It's just another step in. I don't know what the payoff is. You don't either. Nobody does. Again, my guess is Charlotte, but that's maybe too logical. So yeah. All right. Well, let's continue on here. The Academic Challenge Round 2 ended. I'm scared about this one.
Kuzma, where you got Kuzma on speed dial, right? All right, yeah, lunchable. Yep, we aren't even gonna. Nope.
We don't want to analyze the lap by lap scooter race. I mean, there's 50 laps. Nope. We could analyze each lap.
I thought we were here to talk wrestling. Well,
oh gosh. Next week, wait a minute. No, there is something happening next week though. They said it's like a quiz bowl or something. So this will be the final.
I already stocked up on a prime rib. I'm going to start cooking at that time.
That's a good point. All right,
so quiz bowl. Oh my god.
A quiz bowl. Yeah, I know. So all right.
I can't, man. I can't. I just can't. I just
Rhea
can't.
Ripley.
You can't do it.
Nikki ASH. I get it. It is one of those. If you're not if you love the entertainment-y part of WWE, this is all you. If you don't,
it ain't. It's not even entertaining.
Well, no, I didn't say it was entertaining. I said they try to pass it as entertainment. They're trying to fulfill the E part of WWE. And I don't think, yeah. So apparently it's an audience.
You always say, that whatever that segment is, it's aimed at somebody. It just ain't aimed at us.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I'd love to talk to somebody that does enjoy these kind of things that they do. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe the problem is a lot of those people are probably past their bedtime, and
no, you need the resident heel to come on. You need the resident. I mean, Owen, he's got this.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, I want Owen. Owen needs to get out here and do a show with you because, man, like he all these things that we're curious about, it's Owen.
Yeah, maybe it is, Brad. I mean, Owen, you've been called out many times on the show. Yeah, so that's it. I mean, Owen, you need to we need to figure this out because I know he's in the UK, I think though, so he's in a completely different time zone. So we'll have to. So he's like, I don't know how many hours ahead of me. That
is must see podcast. Okay.
Yeah.
Must see podcast.
Yeah, that is very true. So that I like that. And Owen, I really hope you're listening to the show. So I'll have to. I know his email, so I'll send him an email too.
Yeah, I love Owen. Yeah, I just love to hate Owen too. Okay, but I love Owen.
No, I love because he's diametrically opposed to what we like. He likes the Miz. He thinks he's the best thing going. You and I can't stand him for any in any context nearly, and especially with stuff like this. I'm sure he found this as the best part of Raw. So
but I mean, all jokes aside, like even if you're just looking at entertainment values, just the dialogue, and that's something that I kept making notes about Raw is the dialogue, the banter between people all over Raw, and especially with Riddle and Gable. Like it was cringe. Like I just found myself cringing at the dialogue that people had.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's community theater. It's bad. So all right, Rhea Ripley, Nikki ASH. Rhea Ripley defeated Nikki ASH after hitting Riptide. Very straightforward. The babyface got the victory over the heel, and this seems like Rhea and Nikki ASH are going to go their separate ways, and perhaps Nikki goes to Molly Holly, who she attacked on the Royal Rumble. What do you think?
Well, the way I look at it, that was one of my high points of Monday Night Raw because Rhea Ripley is now free of Nikki TRASH, and I was really happy about that. If she needs to go mess with Molly Holly or whatever, fine, go ahead, as long as it's far and away from Rhea Ripley, because I was just seeing nothing but Rhea Ripley's character get diminished ever since they've lost their tag team titles.
Yeah, in the prestigious women's division, the very deep, prestigious women's tag team division. Yeah, that was a devastating loss of which most people haven't recovered from. So yeah, you're right. I mean, anytime Rhea gets away from Nikki, That's a good thing. She
good.
is officially, this to me was they like to say statement a lot, but that's exactly what this was. It was a statement that Rhea is now free. The handcuffs are off. She's in on her own path, I hope.
Yes, that was the blow off. It was the payoff, whatever you want to call it. And I'm happy for it. I'm happy for it.
How about Miz and Dominic Mysterio after Miz hit Mysterio with the skull-crushing finale? So Miz, yeah, I had a feeling that was coming.
What else happened? What else happened on Raw?
Angela Dawkins. Dolph Ziggler.
Oh, hey, that was beauty. That was another, match that you didn't see a lot. I mean, people would have, maybe checked out, that's the filler type match, but no, I thought they did a great job. It was, again, you have Dolph Ziggler in there, and I thought I saw, Andrew Dawkins actually come into his own a little bit. I have nothing bad to say about that match at all. None bad at all. It was way better than any Miz thing that happened. That's for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm with you on that, and I think Dominic Mysterio is about as interesting as grass growing. I don't find Dominic interesting at all, but
he needs to be in NXT. He needs to be in NXT.
He needs character development. He's got no character. I mean, he's good in the ring. He's more than serviceable in the ring. That's not the problem. He's just got no character at all. None. So yeah, that's the huge problem. If his last name wasn't Mysterio, he wouldn't be on Raw. That's just it. So. How about Bianca Belair defeating Carmella? She hit the KOD. Not a long match. Bianca obviously came out after, as we mentioned with Becky. But I don't know. I don't really have a whole lot to say on Bianca beating Carmella. I
just want to give a big shout out to the amazing, prestigious, one of the most important titles in all of WWE, the women's tag team titles, because we got to see, literally. They're just splitting them up into singles matches and having them lose. Like, it's supposed to give them, put the other person over by beating a tag team. I don't remember the last time I seen them do anything of. I don't even remember the last time I saw them fight as a tag team. So it's just absolutely disgusting. It was, it moved the story along. I think that was another match that was to, send Bianca Belair onto her way as well. And so, yeah, there really wasn't much to chew on there. Bianca Belair comes out, got her match, got her win, buried the tag team champions again, and I just cannot listen to Carmella screaming in the ring, and I cannot listen to Corey Graves at all. I have to mute my TV and play some Kendrick Lamar or something because I cannot listen. I'll mute the TV and just listen to y'all. You know what I'm saying? Because truth matter is something that you've said a few times. You do have a voice that you can fall asleep to. Thanks. Like, for real. So sometimes I'll put on an old episode and I'll listen to it, but you cannot do that with the mailbag because no matter what, you'll be just about to lull off to sleep. You're doing your talk and everything's good, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, good morning, everybody, DJ Kuzma.
Oh yeah,
it scares the crap out of you.
I'm sorry.
The crap out of you.
I'm aware that in his voicemails, I take the gain. I actually, believe it or not, it is actually like a quarter of how loud I get the original file at. So if I didn't adjust his file and take the sound down, it would blow the speakers out of most people. So I do the best I can.
It scares the crap out of me.
I really do.
In the middle of the night, I was about to fall asleep.
Sorry, yeah, I know.
And out of nowhere, but it works. That's a good place to put him because if you start falling asleep at that point, he comes in and it shocks you back awake, so you can listen to the rest of the podcast. It's smart. I'm with it. I'm with it.
So as long as you don't have a heart condition. If anybody has a heart condition, maybe skip that part of the mailbag. He's usually one of the first voicemails. So yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's a good point. So yeah, there's kind of a double-edged sword there. All right. Well, let's move on here. Rollins gets a bye in the Elimination Chamber match. It was announced on the Kevin Owens show that he gets a free pass because of his, quote, impressive performance against Reigns at the Rumble. Owens did point this out, which I enjoyed. Owens actually said, hey, you have to qualify, but or you don't have to qualify, but I do. And I like how he pointed that out. And he also emphasized the word stupendous because he knows he's got his finger on the pulse, though. Like Kevin Owens, even though he's a heel, puts into his promos things that he knows fans are really just annoyed about how people can qualify and other people don't have to, about the stupendous word. And he emphasized it, but he did it in a way that he knew fans hated, which is nice. So what did you think about this particular segment? That was awkward.
Kevin Owens is one of the best and underrated speakers on the microphone. But that being said, the whole interaction kind of between the two, it felt like they both kind of got lost, and it just got cringy. It just got weird. It just got weird.
Yeah, yep. It did. It felt like they lost their way and they're just rambling and they had no direction. And it's like, okay, guys, can we move? Can we put one foot in front of the other? Move? Yeah, and they were just kind of like spinning in place. It was weird. But you know what? Yeah. Everybody, even if they're good on the mic, they're going to have nights like that. I'm going to give them both a pass. It's fine. It happens. In general, I like these two together. So really, no harm, no foul here. I'm okay with it. But so moving on to the actual qualification match, Austin Theory defeated Kevin Owens with via pinfall after he hit the ATL. And I really actually enjoyed this match. I was surprised Austin Theory won. I thought KO would. I don't know where KO goes from here. But Austin Theory, for all of his faults of being involved in McMahon's storyline, which doesn't make any sense to me at all. I don't know why McMahon is back for Austin Theory. It makes no sense. Maybe because it has the name Austin in it, and he's thinking, well, Stone Cold Steve Austin. Well, this is Austin Theory. You know, I don't know. I don't know why the hell Austin Theory. This still makes no sense to me. But what did you think about the match? Austin Theory beating Kevin Owens to get into the chamber.
Well, this is a moment where all I have to say is I agree with you fully.
Wow.
It was I 100% in every way, shape, or form. I thought it was the right move. I thought it was the right call. I thought the match was solid. Kevin Owens I think Kevin Owens can get past it just fine, but he definitely put over Austin Theory, and I thought that was one of Austin. I mean, it took a lot of the corny stuff away for a day. And he just went out there and handled business. And I've been an Austin Theory fan since NXT. That was well done. I agree with you 100% for one of the few times right now.
Wow. All right. Well, that makes my ego feel good after the take no prisoners approach to your what was it? It was a few weeks ago when you said nobody's safe. There was nobody. There was nobody. It was good stuff. So let's see what else. Oh, Rey Mysterio AJ Styles beating Rey Mysterio. Two legends in this matchup, two veterans in this matchup, and they did properly say that this was, and I believe that, that this was a main event at any time, any place, every day of the year. And yes, they may not both be in really prominent positions right now, but the household name value of these two, the work, body of work that both of them have put in throughout their entire career, I understand it from the respect perspective. So I didn't particularly have an issue with that statement. I think Corey Graves said it. For all the stupid things he says sometimes, I actually was like, all right, from a respect standpoint, I get it. And AJ Styles beat Rey Mysterio. And for all of you that are thinking that just because he's on the cover of 2K22, he's going to go on this hot streak, that's not the case here. He ends up losing to AJ Styles. I really enjoyed this match. What did you think?
I thought it was a good match. I guess I don't like it when I get it shoved in my throat for the whole day. Oh yeah, this is a main event match. Da, da, da. I'm like, oh yeah, okay. Like it just felt like it got redundant to me. So by the time the match actually came around, because I didn't like a lot of Raw anyways, I was already kind of checked out. But yeah, you're right. It was a good match. I mean, you're not gonna have a bad match with those two men. You'd be hard pressed to have a bad match. But it also at the same time, it just didn't really do anything for me. I felt like it was just a part of the whole rushing the whole Elimination Chamber together. And I would have been fine in getting it over a couple weeks as compared to one day.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, as good as these two are, and the legend factor that both of them are, and they are living legends. They both, and that I don't have a problem with. They're not Summer Rae legends. They are true legends that are actually living and breathing right now. And it felt cold, like you said. This is a main event match anytime, but it's also very cold. There's no real program going on with them. Both of them are also not really involved in anything super serious. They're just two guys that are veterans that have been around for a long time that just aren't doing anything right now. So let's put them together. So from that perspective, it was a little bit cold. But so let me ask you this: as we look forward to Elimination Chamber really quickly, do you have an early pick as they rushed everything this week and gave us all of the 6 competitors in the Royal Rumble? Do you have an idea, or what's your quick prediction, if you want to share it, about who's going to come out of that champion?
Well, with me, it's gotta be Seth Rollins. I feel like it has to be Seth Rollins. You can only stall his. I feel like if it's not Seth Rollins and he doesn't get a straight up step forward, then I think they're going to miss the boat on what genius work he's been doing. So that's actually my pick. I believe that all roads it has to be Seth Rollins. If it's not Seth Rollins, then I just don't. It doesn't make sense to me. And then what was the point of all the investment into Seth Rollins over the last 3-4 months?
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Seth Rollins is the perfect pick. You could have him work with a number of guys at WrestleMania. Randy Orton could be one of them, or Kevin Owens, who's inevitably going to turn on him because that's what he does with best friends. He's done it to Chris Jericho. He's done it to Sami Zayn, among others. I mean, so whenever he calls somebody his best friend and he loves him, I mean, it's just hilarious because he knows that the fans know that that's a bunch of crap. It's hilarious. So I think
he's the male version of Sasha Banks.
Yes, it's exactly right. I mean, the backstabber's coming at some point, and the other shoe's going to drop. He's like kind of Randy Orton. The RKO is going to drop. I think Seth Rollins is the perfect pick going into WrestleMania. Bobby Lashley's not a particularly exciting champion, and I think Bobby Lashley might end up with Omos or something at WrestleMania, where it's more of a spectacle matchup, where it's like Omos finally has somebody that actually challenges him from a strength perspective, and he can't just manhandle somebody. So I think Bobby Lashley is probably going to go against Omos at WrestleMania, and you're going to have Seth Rollins in a one-on-one or probably a triple threat or fatal 4-way matchup at WrestleMania.
Yeah, I feel like he's going to be in the triple threat with Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, and Seth Rollins, and then that's where I think.
What about
Seth
Drew
Rollins.
McIntyre though? Drew McIntyre, he was runner-up. He got a good reaction. Where the hell is Drew's like kind of a wild card right now?
They missed the boat with Drew, because that's what. If you want to know how I end that Royal Rumble, it ends with Drew throwing out Brock Lesnar. Period. Give Drew the moments that he missed out on and that he's earned, but as soon as I think Drew is just it always happens. Not everybody can be in this top spotlight at the same time, and I just think that he's going to be the one that misses out this year. Wow,
that's so sad. He got, the timing of the pandemic and where he was, the fans were so ready to embrace him, and he ends up crowning him. They crowned him as champion in front of exactly 0 people. I felt so bad for the guy. Everything was just timed so poorly with him and Edge on his return. We'll never forget the infamous quiet backstage last man standing match with him and Randy Orton. That went like 4 hours long.
I've tried going back and watching some of the pandemic shows.
How is it? I have not done it.
I can't. It don't. It's worse. It's worse than you thought it was. You realize how much leeway you were giving it, But it's especially if you go back before the Thunderdome, it's really, really bad.
Oh, when there was just like not even those fake fans, those like NXT and trainees, they just had nobody. Yeah,
it's so bad. Oh man, I'm just forgetting that moment, that era happened.
Yeah, just such a big black hole, and it's such a shame with everything that happened, and it just makes you so grateful for fans actually being there. It reminds you just how important fans are to the experience. It's the most important thing of the show, I think, is the fans, because they can make anything feel more important than it is. They can bring up anything, any segment.
The fans are a character. The fans are a character in the story, and that's why I can't stand it when WWE likes to pipe in because it's not that they shouldn't do it, it's that they're really bad at it when they pipe in extra crowd noise, because you can tell, and it's just ridiculous. Because the fans are part of it, just like the city that you're in, that's part of it for that day. And that's a whole. You should just do a whole episode just literally talking about those sort of things on the disrespectful things that WWE does and how they treat their fans. When they treat us like we're dumb, they don't acknowledge where they're at and dropping storylines, this and that, and the other thing, because that's definitely right there in that wheelhouse.
Yeah, I mean, I could easily there's the biggest thing I have with the WWE right now is like their inability to create long-term stories and just like going from chapter 1 to chapter 5 without telling you chapter 2, 3, and 4. They just don't, and they don't care to tell you. How was Brock Lesnar's suspension lifted? We don't know. Why is the Hurt Business back together and they're not back together and then they're back together? We don't know. Like, there's just so many things that they just do and they expect us not to care, or that we're dumb enough to not realize that we need to know this part of the story. That kind of stuff really bothers me when they don't even bother to give us a lame excuse as to something happened. They just don't tell us at all. It's lazy and it's insulting, and so I'm with you on that. Anything else? I know there's, of course, nooks and crannies we probably didn't cover, but anything else you want to talk about before we wrap it up?
No. I figured I could just end it off with the combined trash list I've combined for the last couple days. But besides that, like I said, Veer Mahan, that is one thing that we did have to notice, is that he has found his prey. He has found his prey. Day 532. I don't know which one's longer, Roman Reigns' title reign or Veer Mahan coming to Raw. But we will find out. With that poll we'll do, because the Veer Mahan watch is real, and it is one of my favorite parts of Mondays, I have to admit.
I love it. Yeah, no, that poll's going to be up. It's going to be real. I'll do it tonight. I want everyone to vote on it, and I want to be serious. Those are three options that it could be. You make a case for all of them have an equal chance, I think, of happening. I'll even vote myself, but that was a great idea, and I really appreciate you coming on, and looking forward to the trash list. And Owen, you've been called out many times. If you don't show up tomorrow, we're going to be very disappointed. All right, you'd be a big disappointment. I know DJ Kuzmo, actually, he messaged me as we were on the show here. He said he needs time to digest the Rumble, and he wasn't in the right headspace, he said, to send into voicemail. So DJ Kuzmo will actually be absent from this week's mailbag. That means those of you with heart conditions can now watch or listen to the mailbag, and that also means that you won't be woken up. So if you want a Bob Ross experience, I'm your guy tomorrow night. So certainly, yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, God. So anyway, thanks so much for coming on, man. I really appreciate it. I'm sure we'll be chatting in the Discord server, and looking forward to more trash lists.
Yes. I'll have a good one tomorrow.
Awesome. Looking forward to it. Thanks for coming on tonight.
All right.
Have a good night.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.